I'm Carla, if we've not met. I'm one of the lead teachers here at HotPod. And we wanted to put this session together to give you some guidance on teaching the hot classes during the summer. Because there's not really been like official guidance from us on it. There's been maybe some tips before, but we thought it'd be really good just to do a proper session because you're all amazing teachers, you know exactly what you're doing, but we want you to feel confident and empowered during the warmer months when teaching these hot classes in the pod, because we usually see a lot of students drop off during the summer. And memberships, they freeze their memberships, and a lot of you are franchise owners as well, you're studio owners, so you know how it goes. And we'd really like that not to happen if possible, because we want the community to still thrive during the summer months, and we want you all to enjoy your job. We want you to feel like you're seeing the same people and the community is growing and the people are benefiting all year round, not just during the colder months. And of course, there's benefits to continuously practicing, as we all know, as yoga practitioners. If we miss our practice, if we don't do it as much, we don't feel those same effects. So we want our students to have that continuous all year round benefit of the practice, as well as the business perspective of we'd like a continuous stream of community and students attending all the classes, because there can just be this lag otherwise between May and September where things get a bit quieter. And then, of course, I'm sure you've seen this as teachers. You might have seen it where students find it hard to come back then in September. So, like, they've had the few months off for holidays and whatever. And then they're like, oh gosh, I can't get myself back into the groove of doing yoga in September. So we really want to keep that practice at that habit for them. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my slides for a sec with you. And I'm going to show you what this workshop will include. Everyone see those okay? Yeah, okay, great, thank you. So I want to hear your thoughts, your feedback. You might have questions, you might have particular thoughts about this that I'd really like to hear. And I'll let you go ahead with that in a sec. Then after I've heard from you, we're going to go through the benefits of hot yoga and a consistent practice during the warmer months, which you'll all know about anyway, but it's just a kind of good reminder just to have that at our disposal as well if students are asking, like, oh, is it okay to practice hot yoga in the summer months? And we have these answers at the tip of our tongue. The language and mindset that we use as teachers, I think, is really important. We'll go through that. Ways to slightly adapt the sequence, and self-care for students and for yourselves as teachers. This is really important because it is hotter and we do have to look after ourselves in a slightly different way, whereas we can kind of get away with it a bit in December, if we're not hydrating and as much as maybe we should, and we can do that for like a day or something. But in the summer, we really need to look after ourselves if we're teaching, especially those of you who teach multiple classes per week. So we'll go through that as well. So let's see. Yeah, let's hear from you all now. So I'll stop sharing for a sec and we'll come back to slides. So if it's up to you, you can either unmute or you can write in the chat any concerns, any feedback that you have about teaching these classes, especially the hot pod flow, I'd say. How are you finding it in the summer months? What are your concerns? What do you see happening? What do you wish was different? Anything. Go for it.
I
Okay.
oh, sorry.
Hi, so that's Anna and Gary. Gary, I'll come back to you in a sec. Anna, go for it.
I find that during the summer months, kind of the best thing is to play with having two heaters, three heaters, and kind of playing with the heat in that way. So if I've got a very full class, I might start with two heaters. And then if it doesn't feel like that's quite enough, then I'll stick another one on, or I'll start with three and then everyone's dying and then I'll put it down. So I think it's kind of the teachers as well. We just need to be proactive in sensing what's happening with the heat, I think, because people are already hot going in or they're warm already going in.
Yeah. Okay. This is a
So,
really good tip. Thank you. So maybe starting with less heat,
yeah.
building up, or maybe turning down. I am going to say as a devil's advocate to this, if I reckon if Nick was on this call, he'd say, don't turn anything off.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think that because they're just like if they're really hot, then I will just keep them hot. I won't let them get cold, you
Yeah.
know, because then that if you can from the beginning just work out, okay, everyone's already really warm, so I'm going to set it at this temperature, and then if come like after the flow, everyone's like dying or whatever. But I think yeah, it's just being proactive in the
Yeah.
heat so
Yeah.
that it's not it doesn't get silly.
Yes. Yes, we mustn't get silly. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely looking out, seeing your students, seeing how they're reacting, maybe turning one off at, during the flow section, but making sure they still get that consistent
Mm.
experience. And as long as they're hydrating before and after, it should be okay. And I'm sure you're all the same as me. Like I like hot yoga all year round. Like it doesn't really matter what day it is, as long as I'm hydrated. So I still would want that heat, feed that, full powered heat. And then what if you're a student that's next to one of the heaters that's turned off? Would you be disappointed then? I don't know. So we've got these other questions as well. But yes, Anna, I completely hear you. We've got to be attentive and maybe we play around with it slightly and see how things go. Yes. Thank you so much. Gary, go for it. Tell us what you were going to tell us.
Oh, hey there. Hello. I was going to say kind of the same as what Anna said. Also, perhaps just turn the heaters off a little earlier before Shavasana. Right now, my team and I will, when we drop to Shavasana, we'll turn the heaters off, but perhaps a bit earlier. And as you just said, maybe not even putting them all. I know as we had that recent hot spell, we have 6 heaters. I took one heater out, so now we've got 5. Not one person said anything. So perhaps embodying that, as well as hydrate tablets, coconut water. And I'm just planning for summer challenge today, and little spritz on the feet during Shavasana. Those little things really help. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go through those tips as well that are really good to keep on reminding your students about, like hydrating, using the 4-5 tab, especially you as teachers as well, hydrating, using those tabs. And the summer challenge we'll touch on as well, which is quite exciting, and it's incentivizing the students as well to still come. Thanks, Gary. And Caroline, did you have something to add?
I think just the reason people come to hot yoga is because they like it hot. I was in a class on Saturday and I was like, God, everyone, that was hot, wasn't it? I think I might just turn the studio heating down. And everyone's like, no, we like it hot. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of say to my teachers, please do not open the pod door, because they did start to get into the habit of that. And I was like, no, no, there's no one zipping. Once we zip, there's no one zipping for 60 minutes. Worst case, and I appreciate Nick would disagree, we might take one heater out. So in the winter, we're at 5, in the summer, we're at 4. And only one teacher turns a heater off because he runs hot. I mean, like really hot, and he does a triple Saturday and Sunday. By his third class, he might turn one off. No one will notice. But yeah, I think it's just do not open the pod door. But most people, there's a reason why they come to us.
Yes, exactly. I completely agree with you, Caroline. And we need to remember that and like celebrate it as teachers, as studio owners. We're never going to apologize for the heat, right? Because this is what makes us so special. But yeah, they love it. And as you know, so Caroline and Anna, you've got on the same page with like maybe you play with maybe turning one off, maybe have cutting down to 5 instead of 6, that kind of thing. So that can work too. I'm just going to go through this chat so I don't miss anyone out. Yes, Starbreeze. I love it if that's your real name. Can it be your real name? I'm new to teaching yoga, but even after so it's self-care you're thinking about. We'll definitely come to that. And yes, we're going to answer questions about, say, if people are like, oh, is it okay to practice hot yoga? We're going to say yes, and here's why during the summer months. Diana, up and down movements are more challenging. Yes. So we might adapt the sequence slightly. So we might adapt. We might not do so much up and down. We might do slower transitions. We'll go into that in more detail. Ali, hi Ali. Belgravia crew love a towel waft. Yes. So I've got that in my tips as well. And I wish there was like a different phrase. Waft sounds so funny. But like the towel refresh, the scent refresh that you can provide by literally wafting a towel, it's cool, right? It brings a coolness over the students, and you can add that lovely scent aspect in. So yes, add that in Shavasana 100%. Gary, yes, it's amazing. Add it in. You won't regret the towel waft. I sometimes shut the pod before the class. Yes, you could do that. I mean, it'll heat up pretty well though. I think even if you didn't do that, it would still be good. Without towel waft. Does it make a difference? So Zaz has said, hi Zaz, does it make a difference if we turn a heater off, as the heaters are programmed to keep the temp 37, so the remaining heaters will just ramp up to make up for the one that's been turned off? That's a really good question. I actually don't know the science behind that. I would say I don't know if they compensate the remaining heaters necessarily, but I think it would still stay at that really warm temperature just because the atmosphere as well is going to be hotter. I think you'll be fine if you turn a heater off. But I am going to just remind everyone that if Nick was here, he would say, keep all the heaters on, everybody, and don't touch them. So I have to say that just because that's my job. But you do what, you are in control and you see your students, so you must be in charge of that yourselves as well. And you are the experts in your own classes, so please use your own common sense. Kate, tend to keep the pace steady. Yeah, exactly. So slow, maybe a little bit slower, maybe a little more steady. Water breaks, and we're not strict about water, as you know, like we allow breaks whenever for water. So if they want little sips of water, great. And people might like add ice to their bottles of water. I actually don't have that on my tips, but I've been doing that recently just for life. It's been lovely, just adding ice into my bottle of water. Oh, Starbreeze, it is your real name. Good. Yes. How about a cold? Yes. So Misha, yeah, cold towel after class. Amazing idea. And I think that I've got this on my tips later. Some studios, some of you studio owners, you'll be like, oh yeah, we did this last year. It was really great. It really worked, having the rolled, refrigerated, cold towels. But it is a bit of upkeep. So there's no pressure to have to do this, but say if any of you want to, it is a lovely addition that the students love as well. So that's just as an option. You can add in those towel treats after class. I fell asleep. Ali said, I fell asleep after a post towel waft. Yes, it is very relaxing. Oh, my heaters turn off automatically, Shannon, do they? Are they supposed to do that? Oh, okay, fine. Sorry, I should know that. I'm not very technical, everyone, with the technical systems, but okay, cool. I'm pretty sure they do. It may just mean, yeah, yes. Ah, okay. Thanks, Shane. That's good to know. So everyone, if you didn't know, the heaters have internal thermostats. So when they hit the program temp, they turn off. Okay, I'm going to leave it there with chats, but thank you so much for your thoughts, everyone. Unless anyone's got anything else they want to say about how they feel about teaching in the heat during the summer, about any concerns that they have, any feedback, anything they've noticed, anything they want to share. No? Okay, cool. We'll go ahead with my slides then, the rest of my extremely exciting slides. All right, here we go. So when your students, I'm just checking you can see that, benefits of hot yoga in the summer. Yeah, okay, cool. When your students are saying, is it safe? Like, is it okay? Or maybe I'll just like pause my membership and I won't come for a few months because I'll just practice in the non-hot environment for now. So we can have these tips at our fingertips. We can have these benefits at our, the tips of our tongues, just to be able to communicate really effectively and reassure and encourage the students to still come. So the hot yoga during the summer helps the body to acclimatize. So every time a student steps into the heat, the body will acclimatize more to the heat. So as the summer gets hotter, you know what British summer is like. Sometimes it's like raining, sometimes it's absolutely boiling. So when we have these, like it's lovely, you know, we have these stretches of really, really, really hot days. We're not really used to it, are we? So this can help to get used to it, going to the pod, going to class. If the student keeps a regular practice, the quicker their body will be able to adapt in similar conditions. So if they've got some holidays booked, if they've got city trips booked in hot countries, if they're cycling, running marathons, triathlons, things like that in the heat, this will help to regulate their body temperature. They're not going to have a shock when they're not going to have as much of a shock, basically. So sweating in the pod will prepare the students for these sweatier, hotter moments in general life, is the science behind it. And when they come to class, we all know what it's like, you know, in the depths of winter when we go to class and we're feeling like quite creaky and a bit stiff in the body and the bones and the muscles. And then it takes a little while, doesn't it, to get going? Because the body's already warm, the temperature has risen outside, it takes less time for the student to warm up, is the theory, right? So they're already in warm up, in the warm up section of the class, they'll feel a little bit more able to move rather than in winter when it's a bit creaky. And the heat of, we all know this, of course, from teaching, from practicing, it improves range of motion, which is beneficial all year round, not just during the colder months. So the energy and endorphins that we get from yoga, that we want our students to get from yoga, they're there every time for the taking after the classes. We all know how good it feels after a hot pod class. We want the students to get that endorphin boost all year round and feel energized, cleansed, refreshed at any point during the year. So they feel even more ready for the busy summer plans that they might have. We want to keep them happy. We want to keep them well, emotionally balanced, the systems of their bodies working effectively. Why should that stop, you know, in the summer months? And this me time, so this sense of looking after themselves, you know, in their practice, that's not seasonal. So ideally, the students who come to class, they're prioritizing themselves, carving this time in their week for their practice. And you know what it's like, summer is crazy busy, usually. We've got things like disrupted routine, like those of you with children in schools and things like that. Suddenly the kids are off, you know, suddenly things are just different. And for all of us, our routines are different. There'll be, you know, regardless of what you're doing at home, like your family life, there's things like holidays, there's things like weddings and family commitments, and the nights that, you know, there's more lights till 10 p.m. so that you're out more in the evening and things like that. So there's a lot of disruption. And although it can be lots of fun and there's things that we enjoy, it can also feel quite overwhelming and maybe manic. And that disruption to the routine gets in the way of people's self-care. So an hour in the pod, we're only talking an hour for class and then a quick shower afterwards. That's enough to reset, to get people to drop in to their internal sensations and away from these distractions and obligations that they have. And they re-emerge feeling ready for the rest of their day, whatever they've got going on. So all that yoga goodness that we know and love and teach, we want them to feel that and have that chance to feel that consistently. So and I know it sounds like really obvious, and they're going to know all these things because they love yoga and that's why they come, but they need reminding sometimes. Oh, but still keep coming, because this is what it does for you every day of the year, when you know, every season. And then the cardiovascular component. So if we zoom into the science behind the sweat, you all know this, but it's good to remind the students. Whilst yoga, generally speaking, is fairly low intensity, The heat raises the body temperature, so it mimics the effect of a more intense physical activity, raises the heart rate, and provides that challenge, cardiovascular challenge, more so than unheated yoga. And we all want healthy cardiovascular systems, a healthy heart. So that is a huge benefit that we can keep promoting to the students. And if I show you this here, this is from, a runner who came to hot yoga in Hackney, a real customer. And lots of your students will be doing this, right? You'll get people coming and they're doing hot yoga as a kind of rehab or, you know, a support to their more high intensity, which is, you know, perfectly valid. And then they're going to get all these other benefits that kind of creep in that are more kind of physiological. So yesterday I ran the London Marathon and set a 12-minute personal best. Despite it being an absolute scorcher, I trained hard for it and hydrated well on the course, but I began coming to hot pod yoga at the very beginning of this block, and I think it surely must have helped me handle the heat so well and helped me so much with my strength and mobility, which kept me injury-free. So big up hot bod, couldn't recommend it enough. So that's a really nice testimonial from someone who didn't find it so challenging on a really hot day, running the marathon and getting their new personal best. So if you have any runners who are coming or anyone who's doing it as a helpful addition to their more high intensity, mention this because it's a really good example. I'll send you these slides as well. And some of you will be teaching these already: nurturing flow, rest and restore. Say if a student is used to practicing only the hot pod flow, why not suggest, say they're, you know, feeling like it's quite a lot with the heat and it's hot outside, blah, blah, blah. You could suggest, okay, why not try a nurturing flow? They can opt for the less dynamic options. And even though the nurturing flow is still taught in the 37-degree heat, it's a slower pace, as you all know. It's grounding, it's longer holds. Then rest and restore is even slower, even more grounded. And I'm tending only, when I teach it, I'm at the moment on the hot days, I only put the heater on for the first half of class and then I turn it off. So you might not even have the heat on for rest and restore. It just needs to be that lovely room temperature, comfortable room temperature. And these practices, when we're talking about this manic period of time where we're like socializing, going out all day and all night, sitting in the sun all day, going to weddings, like potentially drinking alcohol more than we usually would have, you know, things like that. It's a lot. It's like a lot of stimulation. These practices are more nurturing and they're helping the nervous system, immunity, emotions, like cognitive function, like all those things that we need are in these classes, as well as the hot pod flow, but especially these two more slower paced. So you can point the students to these as well. Everyone okay? Yeah? Okay, great. Thank you so much for listening. So the next thing we'll talk about is language. So I'm not saying I've heard anyone here say this. It's actually, I haven't heard anyone say this in Hot Pod, but I've heard people say it at different hot studios in the past because I've taught hot yoga for a long time. It was how I started teaching, and then I, you know, moved into non-hot as well, but I've taught a mixture of both. But I've heard this in the past at different places. Oh, I'd rather be outside as well. Or, oh, well done. I know it's really hot. Or, wow, I'm amazed you're all here and not sitting in the park. You know, like things like that. And I'm sure that none of your teachers are saying things like this. None of you are saying this. But these are like subconscious little seeds that are planted in the student's mind that the next time they go to book class, they might be like, oh, it is hot, isn't it? Maybe I will just sit in the park. Whereas if they didn't hear those things, because they really look up to you, right? They really look up to you. You're the expert in this situation as the teacher, the studio owner. You are the one they look up to. So if you're saying, oh yeah, like it's really hot, it's really hard, why are you here? They might be like, oh yeah, I probably won't come again then. So it's just flipping that script and not using these types of phrases, which we're going to look at, kind of flipping them on their heads in a sec. And you've already talked about this. Those of you who've said, like, you know, people who come to the hot classes in the summer, they want to be there. They're like, I like the heat, give it to me, right? Still. So we can celebrate their dedication and their commitment. Wow, well done for coming. You know, that's rather than, you know, oh, you shouldn't be here. So just to use like an extreme example, none of you would say that, I'm sure. So yeah, so we're encouraging mindful awareness. So the heat is here to support your practice, not to overwhelm you. There's always that option for breaks, always, always, right? Even in the depths of winter, we offer breaks whenever people want to. Water breaks, you know, we're kind to our students, we're inclusive any day of the year. And the heat is there to help them, not overwhelm them. We want to empower the students by focusing what they're going to gain rather than what they have to endure. And normalize it. So you can say things like, you're not alone if you're feeling challenged. This is part of the process. Same as if someone came and they were a beginner and it was really cold. It was January the 1st and it's really cold. And they're like, I'm nervous, you know, I've never done this before. Is the heat going to feel okay? We would be really encouraging about the heat. So it's the same as in the summer. We still want to be really encouraging. And we want to say, and it'll acclimatize you for your holiday or running around in the heat. So yeah, it's about normalizing it. So there's a mindset shift as teachers. Say if there might be that slight sort of, oh, wow, you know, it's really hot outside, that kind of, because we're not used to it as Brits as well. Like I know a lot of you aren't born here, but like when you live here, you're kind of not used to it suddenly when it's really hot, even though it's amazing, it can be like, whoa. But we celebrate their commitment. We meet them with presence, with encouragement, and we amp up the enthusiasm even more if they're feeling like, oh gosh, you know, I can't believe I'm here in hot yoga. But like, yes, you're in hot yoga. It's amazing. So let's talk about, oh yeah, so these are just some kind of flipping it around. So well done for making the time, because it's really busy in the summer, isn't it? Well done. Well done for still coming. Well done for being disciplined. You're here. Let's get going. Let's do this practice that'll make you feel amazing. The heat will help you acclimatize to this amazing weather. It will help you in that environment that you're going to step back into. A committed practice will benefit you hugely during this really busy season where it's really manic and you've got loads going on. Well done for prioritizing your self-care. Phrases like this, you know, encouraging the students, because it's a lot to keep up. I admire people so much, to be honest. Pretty much every time I teach yoga, I don't know if you're all the same. When I see people turn up week in, week out, I'm like, wow, that's a huge commitment and well done all year round, you know, especially in these times where they might have more going on. Okay. So let's look at adapting the sequence, everyone. And I'm going to ask you for suggestions as well. I think some of you have already given me some, but I want a few more if you've got any ideas. We only want to slightly adapt it. So say those people who are coming, they love the sequence, they love how you teach. If you cut back loads of stuff, they might be a bit like, well, why am I here? You know, I want the same like full vinyasa flow experience if we're talking about the hot pod flow specifically. But what we might do is do a few less vinyasas. So if you're like me, towards the end of the sequence around balancing, I'll still add 2 vinyasas between like the right and the left side. But it's not essential to do that. It's not like you have to do that in the sequence, in the structures, but I like to do that because I like to give them 2 more towards the end of the standing. But maybe I wouldn't do that if it was like 30 degrees outside. I might be like, this is at the end of the first, like the chair section, maybe that's the last vinyasa before balancing, or even at the end of ladder flow potentially. So you might cut out vinyasas that way, but still having all those vinyasas in between the ladder flow and having them at the beginning as well. So they build that heat. Because if we strip out too much, we're going to lose aspects of this vinyasa arc, which we want to keep all those in, ideally. So we might leave out the more dynamic movements. So some of you are into your inversions as well, which is amazing. But maybe if you had students who were maybe more beginner level and they'd come to a class on a summer's day, maybe it wouldn't be a time to add in crow. But you can judge it how you feel, because maybe you think, hang on a sec, they still want to build strength. I think they can handle it. So you can judge it as you feel. Maybe you leave out a few of the dynamic movements like that. Fewer repetitions, slower transitions, longer shavasana with the heaters turned off. So we always want to give 5 minutes at least, but maybe we'd give more like 6 minutes, maybe 7 if we had the time. That sounds luxurious and quite hard to do, but say if you had the time, why not? And they'll really appreciate that, I'm sure. So longer shavasana. Any other suggestions? If I just stop my share for a sec. Any other suggestions for adaptions for the sequence? I'm just reading your messages as well, Zaz and Gary. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Zaz is saying drinking hot drinks can cool the body down as well. Yes, I've heard this before too. Okay, yes, that's something to think about. And then Gary, you said we have, oh wow, a member who's done 12 marathons in 12 days in Africa, and he told me it was the practice of the heat that had prepared him. Oh wow, that's a good thing to mention, everyone. You can quote that. I'm sure Gary won't mind. Any other suggestions? Any other ways you could adapt the sequence? What do you think? Maybe less balancing. I thought about that just now at the top of my head, less balancing. If they're feeling a little woo. Any other adaptations to the sequence? How do we all feel about core work? It's good, isn't it? But maybe we leave out core, or there's less core, slightly less core. Holding poses for less time. Yes, Stacey, thank you. Yes, you might hold chair for less time. Maybe adapt the ladder flow and make the balance one of, oh yeah, that's a good idea, Shane. Yeah. So adding in balance to the end of the ladder flow. Zaz, I'd make vinyasas optional. Yeah, they can go to down dog and skip the chaturangas. Yeah, absolutely. Or they could stick with knees down, chaturanga and low cobra. Props, absolutely, Amy Lou. Yeah, props for support. Any class, really. But yes, especially in the summer, that could be really good. Shane, leaving a longer period to have child's pose after the ladder. Yes, so giving them a slightly longer break. Yeah, absolutely. Always offer 3 variations or skip entirely. Yeah, I reckon keep the vinyasa in, because they could do the knees down one. And if they have that, it just gets the body into that flow, builds that heat, connects the breath. So we'll keep that vinyasa in whenever possible, but they can always do the knees down version. I know I shouldn't say this out loud, but that's like my favorite version of vinyasa, the knees down version. More cues for water. Yes, Lisa. Yeah, little sip here, little sip there. Not glugging the water because that'll make them feel sick, but little sips. Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Sequence-wise, think of poses, transition, stagger the transition. Leanne, stagger the transition from a full forward fold to standing, adding a little chair pose, then rise to standing. Yeah, nice. Great. So it's less kind of, yeah, even more kind of steady coming into that chair. Exactly. I like that. So there's ways to adapt. There's ways to adapt, but keeping that flow, keeping the components of the vinyasa as best as we can. Thanks, everyone. I'll come back to my slides. We're almost there, making really good time. because I know you're all busy. Thank you so much for listening so far. Everyone see that self-care slide?
Carla, I think you're sharing your notes as well, rather than just your slides.
Oh no. You're going to see my internal thoughts. Okay, cool. There you go. I'll just make this bigger. I can actually send you my notes if that's helpful, because it's kind of like everything I've talked about, but in more detail. But I'll make them neater. Okay, so self-care for teachers and students. This is going to sound really obvious, but we've talked a little bit about it already, but hydration, really, really important. Making sure you drink before and after. And what I've tended to do in the past as well is have a 4-5 before teaching and after teaching, which really helps. Contrast therapy. Some of you will do this already, I'm sure, but like cold water swimming, cold shower after teaching. You can encourage your students to do this as well. Cold water just on the wrists, like running cold water on your wrists can really help to cool down. Making sure that you rest as teachers as much as possible. I know that it's really difficult sometimes, especially if you've got multiple jobs, multiple responsibilities, multiple things you have to do. The rest kind of goes out the window, but try and look after yourself even more than you would usually, especially if you're teaching a lot of classes per week. The scent towel refresh, that's really nice for the students. We talked about that already. The cold treats, so this might be the cold towels, the refrigerated towels. It might be that there are like you can get a lollipop after class, or it might be that we even add those in as like little perks every now and then for the students, but of course that's up to you, studio owners. We were even going to think, I think we talked at some point as a team about maybe trying to join with a local business, like something like a healthy fruit lolly of some kind. We could maybe partner with them and get them to, if we had some freebies and you could give them out after class. But cold towels, small adaptations to the sequence. And yeah, anything, let me just stop share for a sec. Oh yeah, what have you said here, Saz? Yeah, coconut water, absolutely. Less twists, yes, less twists. Less twist, less heat. Yeah, exactly. Any other ways to look after yourselves, everyone? Anything that's worked for you? Say if you've taught lots of hot classes. Yes, Bethany. Yeah, I can do that. No worries. Bye. Thanks for coming. But yeah, anyone else got any ideas on self-care? So Shane, you said, I teach 3 classes on a Tuesday. I always have a banana or 2. Yeah, good idea. Because that's electrolytes as well, isn't it, in the banana, I think, or some good stuff in there. Magnesium, something, isn't it, that helps with the heat. We have a small ice maker. Oh, that's a good idea. Hot Pod Yoga Sunderland. We have a small ice maker in the studio and encourage students to fill their bottles. Yes, thank you. Mandy, I always add salt and lemon to my water. Good idea. Love this. Because I always crave salty crisps after class. So this would be much healthier than that, to do the salt in the water. Amy Lou, remember to breathe with students. Yes. Amazing. So ground yourself when you're teaching, breathe. If you've been rushing about, you've had plans, you've just been to, a wedding or a festival, you come back on a Monday, you're back into teaching. How do you ground yourself? How do you look after yourself? How do you reset? It's really important. What else have people said here? Deanne, I like a damp towel. Yeah, yes. So you could have your own cold towel in the fridge. Doesn't have to be one that your studio owner provides. You could just have your own cold damp towel. And just give yourself a little dab in between classes if you teach more than one. Change of clothing between teaching. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. And Star Breeze, I've started contrast therapy, sauna, ice bath. Yes, that's really good recovery. We also have a little water spray bottle. Oh, that's a good idea, Shane. So that is low maintenance as well. You can just have a bottle, like a water spray bottle, and the students can spray themselves with water after. Great idea. Thank you, Shane. Cooling facial spritz. Yes, exactly. Or you could do it as they're walking out of the pod. No, I'm joking. That might be a bit much. But if they want to spritz themselves, they can. We have face spritz in the fridge, but keep forgetting to get it out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because you want to keep it cool. Yeah, I get it. So maybe get into the habit of taking it out after class. We have cooling spritzes from Rituals. Everyone loved it. Yeah, I'm not surprised, Gary. Yeah, it's a great idea. We don't have that in Brixton. We should get that going. Or only because I'm just thinking where I see people come out of class. They'd love it too. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. What about like any other like self-care bits, like when you go home, or what you do after teaching to help yourself stay energized? Do you limit your time in the sun before you teach, or do you still go out in the sun and then go and teach? Because that can help. Say, when I was teaching more on a kind of self-employed basis, I wouldn't lie in the sun all day and then go and teach. But I know some of you are sun lovers, so you might be like, well, I'm going to lie in the sun all day and I'm going to be fine. So it depends on your constitution, I think. I'm less, I would look after myself in that way. I would do less sunbathing perhaps. And then I would go into the park on a day where I wasn't teaching the hot classes. So that might be an idea. Say if you do feel a bit depleted and you're thinking, why do I feel so depleted? It might be because you taught a double after being in the sun all day. Hydrate, absolutely, Shannon. Yeah, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. More so than you think, because you'll be using the water more than you think. Big bowl of pasta to go home to, always. Every day I could have pasta, I think. Sea swimming. Yeah, if you're by the sea, absolutely. Throw yourself into the sea. And have a lovely swim after class. Yeah. Zaz, bring salads or protein-rich foods with you. Yeah, really good idea for energy. Yeah, 4, 5. Yeah, absolutely. They're good, aren't they? Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for your tips. We're kind of nearly there with the slides. I think that's... Okay, yeah. So this is just a summary of what we've gone through, everyone. Look after yourself and the students. Remind your community of the benefits of hot yoga and the consistent practice during the summer. Keep it encouraging, celebratory, and motivational as much as possible with your language. Adapt slightly, but keep that flow going. Keep that feel-good flow going as much as you can. Have confidence in that and have confidence it's what people are coming for and it's what makes a difference for people. And you've got that option as well of guiding them to the more grounded classes. Okay. And then we'll just finish with any questions you might have. Oh, and I wanted to talk about, just before we finish as well, before you ask me any questions. Oh, that's nice. I have a little group who join me for a sea dip after my 7 a.m. on a Thursday in the summer. That's wonderful. Oh my gosh, I wish I lived by the sea. I've got major sea envy now. Thank you. Elaine, isn't it, in Sunderland? I haven't got your name. I've just got Hot Pod Yoga Sunderland. Have I got that right? Okay. Hot Pod, yes. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Elaine. I want to talk about the Hot Pod Summer Challenge quickly. So some of you are studio owners, you'll know all this already. Forgive me for repeating everything you know, but just to tell all your teachers, even though you'll all probably know as well, there are 2 really fun things we've got going on for new customers and existing customers. There's a summer intro offer, so that's 30 days for £30. So that's for people who are, haven't tried it before, and then they can come every day if they want. It's effectively like £1 a class, which is amazing if they come every day. And then the summer challenge is really fun. It's like a bingo card that the students pick up, and they have to do all the little challenges. And it might be like bring a friend to class, or it might be like try a rest and restore. And they have a stamp. And there's a stamp in the studio, and they mark off all their things, their challenges, and then they get a prize at the end. So it's really fun for the community and for the students, and they'll really enjoy it. And it's like an incentive to still come during the summer. So we've got those things going on. You can mention those to your students that are coming in. I know that studio owners, you'll be on this as well already. Any questions after all that, after the slides, after anything I've said? Is it a little bit, are you feeling a little bit more empowered, or, reassured about the summer stretching before us? The hot days, are people still going to come to class? Yes, they are. Everyone feeling positive about it? Any questions? Anything at all? Don't be shy. You're welcome, Gary. Yeah, if you have to shoot off, no worries. We're finishing a little bit early. It's being recorded as well for anyone who missed it, so that's good. All good here. Thanks so much. You're welcome, Shane. Thanks for your time. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. I know you're busy, so I really appreciate your time. You're welcome, Lisa. And any questions at all, so you get anything else comes to mind, just let us know. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Misha. Pleasure, Stacey. Thanks, Bex. Thanks, Nigel. Thanks, Steph. Well done. Thanks for listening. I know oh, hearts. Thanks, Caroline. Thanks, Sally. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Elaine. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Teaching in the heat is the best all year round. Maybe that should be the song. That's the official song.